So I am Pete Zupan, a campus organizer with the Secular Student Alliance, and it is my pleasure, and I do actually mean that, to introduce Nicole Niebler, one of our outstanding student leaders. She was a scholarship winner for the SSA last year, like Matt Enlow. She runs the group at UW-Madison, the Atheists, Humanists, and Agnostics group there. And they're fantastic. They are pretty damn well funded by their university, which gives them a unique situation. But it really helped them put on their own conference, Freethought Fest, that they have just about every year, I'm pretty sure. And this group has been going on for a long time, and leaders like Nicole are only going to help keep it going on any longer. So give us a hand for Nicole Niebler.
Thank you. Okay, is this on? Is it working? Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, well, Pete did a great job of introducing me, and I'm happy to be here. Like you said, my name is Nicole. I'm the president of Atheists, Humanists, and Agnostics at UW-Madison, and I'm here to talk about why interfaith engagement is important. So some people need convincing that interfaith is important for a well-functioning or better functioning secular group on campus. Others may know that it is important, but they don't necessarily know why. Some may need help getting started with interfaith engagement, and most groups just need help with how to engage with interfaith and ideas for that. And so my goal is to help out with all of these folks. And my plan is to have a little bit of time at the end for questions, and also to hear tabletop discussion of different ideas that you guys have for interfaith, because I obviously don't know all of the answers. So. Alrighty, so, what is interfaith? The name is partially self-explanatory, but it's a really vague term without experiencing interfaith explicitly. Some examples are up there: social events, philosophical discussions, and building friendships and relationships. And there are many other ways to engage in interfaith, so we'll talk about a few of those today. And why does it matter? So, honestly, I think the most important part of interfaith is common understandings. You realize so many common understandings with religious groups that you didn't know existed. For example, AHA collaborates frequently with Badger Catholic, which is a Catholic organization at UW-Madison, and during most of our discussions, we tend to come to agreements more often than not, which may be surprising. And you'd be surprised with how many things other groups agree with you on. But in order to experience those common understandings, you have to engage in interfaith. And I think one of the biggest pitfalls with secular student groups is thinking that they know what people from other religions believed based on most likely outdated interactions with religious folks. Chances are the people in religious student groups on your campus are some of the good believers. People in our generation tend to be a lot more accepting and open-minded than those of our parents' generation. So just try to keep that in mind. Also, collaborations are really great to engage in interfaith. Collaborations for events with other groups ultimately and ideally save your group money, time, and other resources. It can also increase attendance at events. For example, if you have more than your single group going to a volunteering event, you're going to have higher attendance overall, but you didn't necessarily have to put in that much more effort to increase your attendance numbers that much. Collaborating with another group for a specific event should involve advertising for the event, and if you have double the advertising, you're a lot more likely to increase your attendance than just doing it alone. Also, you make friends. Making real solid relationships with people from other student groups will expand and diversify your friend circle. And it can be helpful in other ways besides just benefiting your student group. It can hopefully improve yourself as a person. So yay for personal development and enrichment, yay. It also makes you look good. So this is just an added bonus. Engaging in interfaith proves that your student group on campus is willing to go out of its comfort zone and try new things. It also proves that your group, which may likely mostly be atheists, doesn't hate religious people. And this defies stereotypes that blankets most, if not all, of the non-believing community. So you're doing more than just engaging with another religious group, but you're actually making non-believers as a whole look better. And the added bonus helps change minds about atheists and makes change that reaches farther than your intended audience at your school. Another added bonus is name recognition. Collaborating with other groups is another way to get your name out there on campus. So many people don't know that secular groups exist on college campuses. But by engaging in interfaith with most likely more well-known religious groups on your campus, you'll be able to increase your name recognition. And the bonus is especially important for kickoff events because of so many new students that assume religious groups exist, but they don't necessarily know that secular groups on college campuses exist. And at UW-Madison, there are at least 7 churches either on or very close to campus. And so temporarily engaging with those student groups that are affiliated with those churches gives us a large reach for new members. And so Interfaith is not just about a one and done event. It's about building and maintaining relationships between your student organizations. A lot of people think of Interfaith and immediately think like, oh, let's just like do a debate with a religious group. No. That is not what interfaith engagement is. That's just one event that you can do with another group. And oftentimes, like, debates are really poorly coordinated and can turn into an event that doesn't do anything good, if not does something bad for both groups. But we'll talk about debates in a little bit. So first we'll start with some ideas to initiate an interfaith relationship. The student org fair. So some schools have an event at the beginning of the year or semester that allows students to check out the clubs at the school to help them get involved. So one really great, simple way to initiate an interfaith relationship is by approaching religious student orgs if your campus holds some sort of student org fair. At these student org fairs, people at tables are looking for others to help, talk to them. So go help them out. Go talk to them and be friendly. Just be nice, ask them how they're doing, what their student org is about, what events they do, and maybe if they're interested in collaborating with you. A student org fair is a perfect place to network because there are so many leaders of organizations in the same place. So sometimes you'll reach out to a group either via email or Facebook or another digital media space, and you'll wait months and months to hear back from them. But one of the cool things about a student org fair is that because all of the physical people are at the same place, you'll get, hopefully, an immediate response from them, a yes or a no if they want to collaborate with you. And if not, maybe they have to talk to their board or something, just exchange names and contact information. And that way you have a sure way of communicating with them in the future. Some religious orgs don't check their email. Some of them don't check their Facebooks. But if they're physically at the org fair, it's a really easy way to talk to them. Also, another thing you can do at the student org fair, it could be called something different if you have it at your campus as well, I should add. But another thing you can do is hand them one of your kickoff flyers if you have one, and invite them to come to a couple events that you're hosting, especially if one is already interfaith. I also recommend attending regular events of different groups. It's a great way to initiate relationships. I'm not saying that you have to go to their religious services and pray with them, but if they have social events like a study day or a sporting event that they're getting folks to try to go to, try it out. Be present at an event or two and take an active role. And don't be like that random new person that sits in the corner and just observes. That's weird, especially if you're new. Go talk to people, engage in their activity. And once you've talked to a few people, you'll start to build a relationship with them between your student org and theirs. And there are variable approaches that you can take while attending their events. And the approach kind of depends on the student org and the event itself. But you shouldn't always feel the need to walk in and be like, hey, I'm here and I'm an atheist. I don't believe in what you guys believe, but I'm here and I'm an atheist. You don't have to do that. That will come up a lot more naturally while you're talking with one or two of their members. And that also means just because you have one clear difference, that isn't all you have to talk about. Building relationships is not just about differences, it's a lot more than that. Outreach chair. So one way that AHA encourages and sustains our interfaith engagement is by having an outreach chair. The outreach chair is one of the leaders of our organization, and they're the primary face for religious groups on campus. They're the ones that we usually send to those regular events because having a consistency of people is really helpful for the other student orgs. And it also makes it really easy for the other groups to contact you if they have a name to the organization. And yeah, what we have them do is go to other clubs' events, and then they can form that relationship and brainstorm ideas with them too. All right, also, this is kind of initiation, kind of maintenance to defy stereotypes. This is crucial to initiating and maintaining interfaith relationships. Nobody wants to hang out with non-believers that act like the atheists and God's not dead. And if you haven't seen the movie, I don't recommend it, but the atheists in the movie are portrayed very poorly. And if you act like those people, nobody's going to want to hang out with you, especially if you have like very core differences with them. And that being said, don't argue about everything. So when you go to participate in another group's event, it's not necessary to argue all the time, and it won't be appreciated either. There's a time and a place for arguing and discussing, and oftentimes it's not during another group's social event, especially if it doesn't have anything to do with religion, if they're just doing a social event. And keep in mind that they're putting the event on primarily for their members and not you. So you shouldn't go there and make it about you. You should go there and try to interact with them. And also, don't show frustration if they say religious phrases to you or around you. That's their event. That's their space to do and say what they want. You're going to their event. They're not coming to yours in your space. You don't have to agree with their speech, but you also don't have to get physically irritated if they do something, as long as it's not hurting you, obviously. If they're trying to get demons out of you, you should probably leave. But if they say bless you, it's fine. It doesn't matter that much. They're not hurting you. They're just being respectful. Also, just be nice. You're not going to make friends if you're not nice. So, state of mind. Okay, so this is really important for maintaining relationships with other religious orgs. It's really a necessity of maintaining it. If you go into an interfaith discussion with a motive to change their minds, you're already failing. Interfaith engagement is not about convincing people to believe what you believe. It's about discussing each other's opinions. You're not supposed to convert people during interfaith engagement. That's what preachers do. Don't be a preacher. Atheist preachers are not usually liked people, and you want to maintain a relationship with these people, so don't discuss. Don't preach, instead discuss. Also, actually being open-minded is necessary. And I think the phrase being open-minded gets thrown around way too often. It's actually one of my pet peeves when people say they're open-minded and they're definitely not. And it totally diminishes the value of the word open-minded. You need to listen to the other side. Accept that they have different beliefs and that they have good things to say, because all opinions deserve to be respected, even if you disagree with them. And you may think that there's undeniable evidence for evolution. I agree with that too. But hear people out if they don't agree with you. Their opinions still need to be respected, and they deserve to be listened to. If you're trying to convince them and preach to them, all you're doing is enforcing atheist stereotypes and being mean. And they don't want to be friends with somebody like that. So that's why having the right state of mind and not trying to preach to them is really important. Okay, so another way to maintain your interfaith relationship is by having some interfaith social events. It's a pretty easy one. Just ask another group to hang out. Do a board game night, card night, bonfire, whatever. Type of interfaith takes little to no extra effort than just a regular group for your regular event for your group. If you're already planning one, just invite them and it can be a joint event. Easy as that. All right. And then, so you can do something social like that, just simple, inviting them to come with, or you can have some specific events or programs. And so one example that Atheists, Humanists, and Agnostics do is called the Faith and Reason Forum. here's like a few flyers about it, so you can like take a look and take one if you want. Otherwise, you don't have to take one at all. But that's just kind of what we hand out at the beginning of the semester to kind of let people know what it's about. It's a biweekly program that AHA has been doing with Badger Catholic for about 1.5 years, and we have biweekly forums where we talk about one topic per forum, and it's jointly decided by Bad Catholic and ourselves. We find an article that represents our views on the topic. They find an article that represents theirs respectively, and then we get together and talk about it. So it's like kind of like a low-key book club. And when I mentioned that we have so many common understandings with them, the forum is how I found that out. I grew up Catholic, and the people that I grew up with were definitely not the same as the people that are in Badger Catholic. They have completely different views. It's amazing how different people can be within the same religion. And most of the time we'll discuss an issue that seems controversial between us if you think about it, but then we end up agreeing on most facets of the issue anyways. So, and really the only way that we're able to dig into those issues is by fostering a friendly environment. And because of that friendly environment, another officer and I were actually able to sit down with 2 people from Badger Catholic, one straight and one gay man, and actually like understand really what gay sex entails according to the Catholic Church. That's not a typical conversation you have with strangers at your school from a Catholic student organization. But because of this forum, we were able to like foster that friendly relationship and really understand what it means to them. And I think that's so valuable. And yeah, so not all debates are bad. You can definitely host a really good informational debate. One that we hosted was with Badger Catholic, so that's our flyer for it. And it's really important that it's done well, though. So you have to work together to plan it. Agree on questions together to make sure you're not stepping on any toes or diving into anything that they don't feel comfortable discussing in front of an audience. Not all religious student organizations want to debate abortion, so communicate and compromise on a topic to discuss with them. Along with that, it's important that you advertise neutrally too. Explain what the debate is and the ideas that will be discussed. Your debate should also be really professional. You want to make yourselves look good. Choose a few people to represent your group. They may not necessarily be your president or necessarily the leaders of your group, but you want to choose people who can be professional and who are able to prepare for the debate. And people can tell if you're winging it. Last spring, AHA had a debate, and there were 3 representatives of AHA, and we each put at least 20 hours each into our 10-minute discussion for the debate. Also, it's really important that you are civil and friendly during the debate. Don't commit logical fallacies. Instead, respect the other group's representatives and their opinions. Shake their hands afterwards, ask to grab a drink or a meal with them after, and foster that relationship. Also, you can do volunteering events with them. So AHA has a volunteering chair who will coordinate volunteering events, and they will oftentimes work with the outreach chair to find another religious student organization on campus to do a volunteering event together. And everybody wants to do good things, so go do good things with others. Other religious groups usually have connections with soup kitchens, food pantries, other charity organizations, and they need volunteers all the time. So if you collaborate with another group on campus and volunteer together, you're showing that volunteering isn't just for religious groups, but also for moral people that are secular. And volunteering with religious groups and engaging in interfaith that way is doing the service of showing those volunteer organizations that they can reach out to secular organizations too, because we want to help others just as much as religious groups want to help others. We just have a different purpose for that. Here are a couple other event ideas. We've done a philosophy potluck before where we just kind of all bring food and talk about philosophical ideas, a study afternoon, or an interfaith panel. We haven't done that yet, but we are working on it for the fall. And it's kind of like a debate, but you just have multiple groups collaborating. So I don't have all of the answers, so I want to hear some of your ideas for interfaith. I think we have 3 minutes left. Yeah.
We debates and interfaith panels, we usually have some sort of like grown-up or like a faculty representative. So our faculty sponsor has done that for us in the past. So what do you think is better, having students involved in that in like a panel situation or something better?
For like moderating or actually
As the
participating?
actual people discussing. Like we had us and then a Christian group and a Hindu group each found like a representative, and then we had a panel of them instead of students.
Right, yeah, so you can do either. So we kind of did a mix of both. We had, I participated, another officer participated, and then also a person who used to be in the group participated. So we had 3 of us. We kind of mixed it up. We just kind of chose whoever would best answer the questions. So we chose the questions before the people because we were like, well, we don't want to limit it to the people. So when we chose a question about like the philosophy of science or something like that, we were like, well, none of the people in the group are necessarily, you know, ready to talk about that. So we chose somebody who has a PhD in microbiology, something like that. We were like, I feel like he's qualified. So, I mean, it's really up to you. But in terms of the moderator, I think that might be an important thing too. We had it moderated by a different group that was like completely neutral. They like booked the room for us and like advertised, and they also moderated, which was helpful. So then you don't have, you know, you don't have to delegate somebody from one side or the other. Yeah.
Yeah. One more question, and then the time is up here. But as someone likes to say, this is not a conversation ender. This is a conversation starter. So please find Nicole in the hallway, chat with her about stuff that's going on. Our phone is making noises. So yeah.
Also, feel free to like add me on Facebook if like you don't have time to talk, or just come up to me whenever. I'll be around. Thank you.